Hi, my name is Annalie Andres and I'm an art historian. I teach in the Visual Arts and Media Studies department. I am going to talk to you today about the flipped model of teaching in our department. This is something that we have embraced. It is very natural to many of the courses in our department, the studio classes, which have a much more hands-on teaching approach where teachers interact with students and work one-on-one with them. What we have done is those of us that teach more traditional type of courses, like myself as an art historian, also Brian Tucker, who teaches a portfolio course, and Stan Kong, who teaches a product design class, have incorporated the flipped model of teaching as a way to interact with our students and provide more continuity within the different classes in our department. And basically what this means is that we avoid the kind of sage on the stage type of teaching, and we move amongst our students. Brian Tucker, in his portfolio class, has come up with a means of teaching in which he has organized his class. So he begins where the students present their works of art and he engages in a critique of them, modeling that teaching strategy for them. And then he breaks his class into groups, and the students then engage in the critique process amongst themselves, and then ultimately they will present information and then the groups will critique one another. So by the end of the semester, Brian literally has moved to the back of the class and he observes as the other students really take on that critique role. It's a little bit more challenging in my classes. I teach much larger courses with up to 120 students. In my classes, I devote a third of the time to a very intensive kind of question and answer period at the beginning of my class, where I move amongst the students and ask them questions and they ask me questions, and we engage in a very dynamic, interactive period. It's really kind of the most satisfying part of my class, where students really engage with the material and the reading. There's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of kind of, I don't know, dynamic communication amongst all of us. It's a very rich, positive time. We also do break up into groups in my course where we discuss sometimes more difficult readings like primary documents, where students kind of congregate together, they discuss the documents and then answer questions about them. We also, when we prepare for writing assignments, we undergo a kind of thesis writing workshop where students are broken into groups and they come up with thesis statements together. I always do a fun exercise where they are supposed to come up with a straight thesis about two works that I show, and then a kind of a crazier, far-out thesis. And then ultimately they're always surprised when we go around together in the entire class and we go through these thesis statements. And of course the far out thesis is oftentimes the much more engaging one, the more compelling one, and students realize when they take an intellectual risk they get a lot more out of it. And this really serves to build a sense of community within the class room environment. The students trust each other a lot more. And this is a good thing when they then do group projects outside of the class. They don't have a problem kind of meeting and communicating. We found that this whole strategy really improves the sense of accountability of the students in the class. They can no longer kind of disappear in the back of the classroom, that they are going to be accountable. And Stan Kong has a really great a system that he uses in his class, this product design class, where at the beginning of the semester he asks the students to analyze brands, Apple or General Motors, and then talk about the characteristic that these brands convey, a sense of trustworthiness or longevity or quality. And the students engage in critical dialogue about this. And then he asks them to think about their brand what is their brand themselves, and what characteristics do they have. And of course, this will be formed by the work they turn in, their ability or desire to communicate in class, their timeliness. And this is something that's returned to throughout the semester, and so students get a sense of kind of self-reflexive thought where they are aware of their own accountability. All in all, we find that this is a really positive style for us. It creates more continuity through our department. We realize that the flipped classroom model is not just a metaphor for delivering information, that there's an actual physical component to it, that we literally need to leave the stage, move amongst our students, interact with them, sit amongst them, get to know them, to really kind of foster the kind of creative learning environment that makes our department so great and makes us attract such outstanding students.